Opinion 1. Big or small city? I grew up in a small town and then moved to a big city. Therefore, I have experienced the good and bad sides of both. I never thought that I would like living in a big city, but I was proven wrong. After 10 years of living in one, I can't imagine ever living in a small town again. Small towns and big cities both have some problems in terms of transportation, but in different ways. In a small town, you have to own a car to ensure comfortable living. You can't get around without one because there isn't any kind of public transportation. Big cities generally have heavy traffic and expensive parking, but then you have a choice of taking public transportation. It's not free, but it's often cheaper than driving when you consider gas and insurance. Especially if you don't have a car, you're better off living in a city. I love the excitement of big cities. Small towns have a slow pace. Large cities mean you have to adapt to a variety of situations, like finding a new route to work or trying a new restaurant. I enjoy that challenge very much. Another aspect of the excitement of city living is the variety of cultural activities available. There is a wide assortment of theaters, music, and dance performances available in big cities. These things are rare in small towns. The final thing I like about large cities is the diversity of the people. The United States is made up of people of different races, religions, abilities, and interests. However, you seldom find such a variety of people in a small US town. Living in an area where everyone is just like me would quickly make me bored. Of course, security is a concern, and that's one area where small towns are superior to big cities. Still, I would rather be a bit more cautious and live in a large city than feel secure but bored in a small town. Opinion 2. Big or small city? In English, there is a well-known fairy story about a poor country boy, Dick Whittington, who goes to London because he believes that the streets of that city are paved with gold. The story is a tale of from rags to riches. Dick eventually becomes the Lord Mayor of London. Like the hero of that story, I always find wonder and adventure in cities. Cities contain a great assortment of people. Whenever I walk around a shopping precinct at midday on a weekend, I am fascinated by all the different types of people hurrying around the shops. Sometimes I just sit on a public bench and simply watch the variegated streams of shoppers. Today, in the age of globe-trotting transport and communications, city life is more mixed than it has ever been. Capital cities are cosmopolitan and eager to attract foreign trade and currency. There is a contemporary English joke that says, "You can never find an Englishman in London." Whether rightly or wrongly, governments and local authorities usually build public amenities in big cities. Money is invested in transport, libraries, parks, and museums. Often, countries will compete with each other for the best showcase building. Malaysia has built a skyscraper that is taller than anything in New York. In large countries, regions will compete against each other. New York against Chicago, Shanghai against Hong Kong, and Beijing. All of this is good for the citizen. The magic of the Dick Whittington story is rekindled in me when I enter a library in a magnificent building. If a person is at university studying art or music, a large city usually offers galleries and public performances. Even as a teenager, I appreciated the worth of living in a city because 2 or 3 times a year there was a rock concert by a favorite band. Architecture is the urban landscape. If a person has an appreciation of architecture, a city can be as visually exciting as the Himalayas. A modern metropolis is a mountain range of height, light, and solidness. And then there are the old buildings, the quaint, unspoiled side street or shops and homes from a distant age. If a person lived all of his life in one large city, he would continue to discover its architectural secrets into his old age. Man is a social animal. He talks, mixes, and creates. Cities offer libraries, universities, and cafe bars for him to meet others of his kind. Opinion 3. Big or small city? Where shall we live? Some may choose to live in big cities, while others like the natural and quiet surroundings of the countryside. As far as I'm concerned, I would like to live in a big city because living in a big city has more advantages than living in the countryside. To begin with, the city is the symbol of human civilization, and there are many facilities for living, recreation, and healthcare. Therefore, living there is more convenient than living in the countryside. For example, we can find plenty of malls around our neighborhood where we can buy everyday necessities at a low price. Furthermore, people are more concerned about their health and safety than other things in their lives. In big cities, medical facilities and emergency services are more easily accessible than in the countryside. Big cities also have convenient transportation and utility systems. They also offer faster internet connections. All of these make our life easier in big cities. In addition, we can take part in a variety of events in big cities. Human beings like to live together and need to interact with each other. In a big city, the population density is high, therefore there are always plenty of social activities, sports events, and concerts. There are more recreational places in big cities, such as opera houses, movie theaters, clubs, and swimming pools. You will have many kinds of entertainment in big cities and meet many people. In the countryside, however, life may be dull and quiet and you may only have a few neighbors. Living alone with few activities can easily cause mental diseases. Some may argue that the pollution in cities makes people sick. However, with automobiles and modern highways, we can easily take a break to expose ourselves to fresh air in the countryside and sunshine on the beach. In conclusion, I strongly believe that living in big cities is much better than living in the countryside because of the advanced facilities and social activities in cities. Moreover, the use of automobiles and highways enables us to enjoy the natural and quiet surroundings in the countryside. Opinion 4. Big or small city. The environment in which a person grows up and lives molds his personality to a greater degree. He becomes a part of the culture of that community where he lives, and the ideals, the line of thinking, the way people dress, the way they speak, and the types of food they like. All of these are influential and somehow make the person who he is. Taking this into consideration, I would prefer living in a big city. I would like to be aware of a lot of things. I would like to be up to date with the current technologies that would help lighten up activities of daily living, such as the internet, washing machines, microwave ovens, cable television, and the like. I would like to experience the benefits of living in an era where high technology is the trend and make total use of it. I would like to be exposed to things that would make me an achieving professional to succeed in life. It is not that I belittle those who would prefer to stay in a little town. I think they have the advantage of having a peaceful life, free of noise, air, and water pollution, living abundantly with fresh fruits, vegetables, milk, and meat. Also, the intimacy of having a small community far outweighs the crowded city. But they are deprived of what is new, or if it comes to them, like television. People in the city are using far more advanced tools and gadgets, such as palm-top computers or watching through their cell phones already. For example, it is very difficult for electricity to reach far-fetched places, so how can they make use of the internet over there? Nowadays, it is very easy to travel publicly, especially with the metro rail train in the city. In a matter of minutes, you are already at your destination without the hassles of traffic. But in a small town, one has to walk by feet, or if they become lucky, some improvised moving carts made of plywood are the means of their transportation. I would not prefer living in a situation where I think I would not grow as a person, where if I ever learn things, those are still way behind those of the urban people. I want diversity. I want an evolving environment. I want to be at pace with the challenges of the place I'm living in and not stay drowned in the stunted growth I may have if I choose to stay in a little town. Opinion 5. Countryside or city. People are always wondering whether the country or the city is the ideal place to live. If there is one preference, which I take leave to make a conclusion, then it is the country rather than the city that provides people with optimal living conditions. There are widespread testimonies for it, and the primary ones are listed as follows. The foremost reason for dwelling in the countryside is the soothing and comfortable life provided by the pastoral view. Hardly anyone could resist the clean atmosphere, the friendly neighbors, the closeness to nature, and the gentle pace of living. Those who have enjoyed the first cockcrow in the morning, the twittering of birds in the trees, and the breathtaking sight of the rising sun would go into rapture at only the mere mention of the idyllic life. Relaxed and suburban dwellers are able to hold a more positive attitude for life and achieve more accomplishment. Conversely, the obvious things brought about by noisy and flashy city life are more pressure and forever lasting anxiety agonizing and tormenting people's minds day in and day out. Another subtle explanation rests on the fact that country inhabitants are fortunate enough to enjoy the cozy and pleasant ambience of the family without exhausting social life. How satisfactory and refreshing it must be to have dinner together with your loved ones in the spacious and pastoral surroundings after a frustrating day. Furthermore, nothing can be compared with the joy of watching heartwarming TV programs, playing convivial games, and sleeping in the tranquil and relaxing atmosphere. On the contrary, it would be far more difficult to acquire such pleasure for those urbanites. Consecutive and excessive recreations not only thrift money, but also deteriorate people's health, which is the last thing one would like to encounter. Naturally, it is possibly reckless to assert that nothing beneficial combines with city life, since several accompanying merits also come along with it. Living in the metropolis means having more access to various people involved in multiple attractive cultures. Living in the metropolis also provides plentiful opportunities both in career and studies. Nevertheless, the fact that city life makes it more convenient to purchase a job does not prevent us from concluding that country life is more enjoyable as well as healthful, and placing a certain amount of reliance on the notion that country life is always the sensible choice.